In this video, we go over my first draft on livefpl.net, which has got predicted prices so you can start tinkering with your FPL side. We look at my big hitters and also some of my mid-price as well as the budget players, which will make up my starting 11 and bench. All of that coming up next. What the flock is going on, and welcome to FPL Today, and welcome to this first draft for FPL season 2022-23, where we go over some of the players I'm looking at and also some of the players that maybe haven't quite made the cut. Now, caveat here, first off, please understand this is a first draft, it's a work in progress, and as the season goes on, we'll get closer and closer to what will be the starting 11 for our side. And yes, you can criticize, go for it in the comments down below, but nobody gets their first draft correct. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. So we're going to start off with looking at my premium price players. And we said it in other videos already, and not everyone agrees with me, which is perfectly fine. But I am looking at Salah and Son as my premium hitters. Now, livefpl.net has Salah at 13 million. There are cheaper options premium price than Salah. And potentially, as they get closer to the start of the season, I may consider not having Salah purely because I just don't want to put 13 million in a player when potentially I could put 12 or 11. Now, that being said, it's also a lot to do with the fact that I personally have a liking towards Luis Diaz and think he could do very well this season, especially with Sadio Mane having moved to Bayern Munich. Some of the preseason friendlies may also shape my view on that, so Salah isn't actually as nailed on as potentially I've said in previous videos. But I think Son is just one of those players I have an affinity towards. I think Son is likely to be my Spurs pick going into game week 1. Now, of course, I could go Kane, which means I can easily swap to the likes of Erling Haaland and Darwin Núñez should I need to. But with 2 moves, I could quite easily get to the likes of those 2. And that is because of some of the other players in my side. So if we have a look at some of my more mid-priced options, we can see that 2 of them are in defence, with Robertson at 7.5 million predicted price and Cancelo at 7 million. Now, both of these players have great potential for clean sheets as well as attacking returns, which is why they've made the cut. Trent Alexander-Arnold does come in at 8 million on livefpl.net, so we could have a look at him if he comes in at a cheaper price. We'll see when the actual game launches. I do prefer Trent, but Robertson last season did outscore him in certain parts of the season, so I don't think Robertson is necessarily that big a downgrade if you need that extra money. As for Cancelo, again, another player I really like, and I think with Erling Haaland in the box, potentially Cancelo could see his assists rise next season. And then up front, we have Gabriel Jesus, who has made a move to Arsenal despite the fact that he's in a Manchester City shirt on this graphic. But he should have made his move to Arsenal by now, and it looks like he could be the man leading the line. And I think Gabriel Jesus could do very well at Arsenal. Arsenal can create chances. The thing with Gabriel Jesus is that at Man City, while there were periods where it looked like he was going to break out and break through into that starting 11 and be the player to take over from Sergio Aguero, unfortunately, he never really kept up the consistency that made Pep Guardiola forced to keep him in the starting 11. Now at Arsenal, potentially he's moving in as the main man up front, and I think potentially that could be great for him and his FPL potential, and also great for Arsenal. With Lacazette and Aubameyang moving on, he looks like the main man up front other than Eddie Nketiah, who has signed a new contract with Arsenal. So I think he could get plenty of minutes and could be a great option. Again, pre-season friendlies though will decide whether I go with him or not, because if I see he's playing out wide, which I wouldn't be too fond of, we may look elsewhere other than Jesus. And then we get on to the more cheaper players that allow me to have the likes of Son, Salah, Robertson and Cancelo. We start off in goal with Raya at 4.5 million. Brentford have a pretty decent run of fixtures to start off the season, so I do really like the look of Raya. And joining Raya from Brentford in my side is Ivan Toney, who again, at the end of last season, started to look like he was acclimatising to the Premier League, and I think could be a great option with Brentford's fixtures. Ivan Toney is a player I didn't have the best of luck with last year, so hopefully we can reconcile a bit there. Also at the back, we have Rasmus Christensen coming in. He's joined Leeds from Red Bull Salzburg, and he looks like a right back that has some attacking potential, so could get clean sheets, as Jesse March has, of course, improved Leeds defensively, and also could get some attacking returns. In the middle of the park, we've got Gameres from Newcastle joining. LiveFPL.net has him at 6 million, and if he can continue the form of last season, and if Newcastle continue their upward trajectory, I think at 6 million he could still be great value. However, again, we'll have to see who else joins Newcastle for me to really stick with that as a move. And then, unfortunately, a 4.5 million player in my starting 11 with Ramsey. Now, Ramsey got some decent game time last season for Aston Villa and showed some attacking potential too. However, ideally, we would want someone a bit more expensive here. To do that, we're going to have to downgrade the likes of Salah, downgrade the likes of Jesus, or downgrade the likes of Son, because I'm pretty sure I want either Trent or Robertson and Cancelo in my back line. So there's some decisions to be made there, which you have to take into account when I'm talking about this side. This isn't the final draft. And then up front, joining Tony and Jesus, we have Neil Maupay. I have no fondness for Neil Maupay. I don't particularly like him as a person from what I've seen, and as a football player. So the fact that he's in here shows how slim pickings the £6 million strikers were. He is in that slot at the moment. Again, I would like to find someone else. So we'll be looking during pre-season for a different cheap striker option. And then we finally move on to the bench, and we've got Meslier in goal because I need a starting goalkeeper as backup. So I would rather not have to make a transfer if Raya does get a short-term injury or potentially a red card. Then also got Veltman and Target joining the defence. Veltman playing for Brighton. Played a lot of minutes last year, seems pretty secure in that lineup, but again, that could all change. We know this because the transfer window is still live. Target seems pretty more nailed on than Veltman as far as playing time, because of course Newcastle has signed him after his successful loan period from Aston Villa, and Target could get some attacking returns, as well as Nick Pope joining Newcastle. I think does strengthen Newcastle's ability to get clean sheets. Not that I didn't think Dubravka was a decent goalkeeper. Unfortunately, I think Pope and Dubravka will probably be priced the same, and they'll probably be priced at 5 million, and maybe we'll look at going up to that kind of price bracket if we can figure out a way to save money elsewhere. And then finally, we've got Dewsbury Hall taking up the 5th midfielder spot at 4.5 million predicted on LiveFPL.net. He, like Ramsey, did start to get some game time near the tail end of last season and did look very promising, and we'll see what happens at Leicester. If they do lose some players like Tielemans and others, maybe Hall will become a starter. But again, if we can find some other cheap options in midfield, we could probably do a little bit better. So there you guys have it. That is my first draft as it stands. Again, feel free to have at it if you want. Completely tear it apart if you wish. This is the first draft and it is going to change. That's the beauty of first drafts. We're not going to have these teams by the time we get to the beginning of the FPL season. So this is what I've come up with so far. If Salah is 13 million, that does create some issues for my starting 11 if I also want to go big at the back. Could be that we have to find a cheaper option at Liverpool to bring into the side. Anyone remember Tsimikas from last year? So that could be a possibility if something like that presents itself. If you have enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join the flock. And with that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.